All right, welcome back, y'all, to Diversified, gentlemen. We're gonna have a quick discussion on some things that are, I would say, it's pretty serious. I wouldn't say dealing with death is never a joyful conversation. So, of course, everybody knows right now we just lost DMX, Dark Man X, somebody we grew up on in hip hop culture, and I'm just gonna talk about it a little bit. What our experiences with growing up with him and our feelings on the whole situation.
Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood was the first explicit album I ever purchased on my own. I don't even know how I got it because I was underage, but I forgot where I got it from. But
hey, you might have got one. The magazines where you get 12 of them for a penny.
It was that music club, man.
Yo, I don't know how I got that. I don't know how I got that album, man. But that was the first one I purchased, and my mom actually listened. She didn't know what I was listening to. I had my headphones on, and she was like, "What's this dude covered in blood?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, cat's off the bag." She's like, "Let me listen to it." And I think the first joint was I got blood on my because
yeah.
Y'all know how it went. Yeah, she took that damn CD from me, man. So had it for about 2 days, and that was it. But man, DMX icon.
Yeah, he actually was my first or second. At the same time, I got It's Dark and Hell is Hot and Hard Knocks Life Volume 2 with Jay-Z. Those were my two first explicit albums, and I was hooked. I think DMX was a little too explicit for me. I kind of lean towards Jay-Z Hard Knocks Life. But DMX was clearly a beast, clearly authentic, and that Rough Riders anthem just went hard at 13. We was rapping that, we didn't even know what it meant.
Yep.
Everybody wanted to be a Rough Rider. We heard that.
Double R.
Double R. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, real talk. DMX is the reason why I shaved my head with that and
real?
having that and receded hairline.
Nature influenced that for you.
Yeah, just heredity, all that. Plus DMX, he made it cool though.
Made it cool to be born. Yeah, man.
I know he made it cool to be dark skinned. Tell you that much, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, DMX is
super aggressive.
He was just that guy. He was aggressive. You know what I mean? He kind of made the thug life cool again after Pac. To me, I think he kind of brought that gangster rap was still popping, but DMX just I don't know, man. It was something about that dude's swag, man.
It was somewhat of a void, and then whatever it was, DMX definitely
brought it back,
fulfilled it. Yeah,
it was, man. I don't know. That dude was amazing.
And what was crazy, the same weekend he passes with that aggression and just, you can call it almost old school because they're breaking out his lyrics and they call it obviously homophobic lyrics and abuse to women. And then on the same weekend, you got Kid Cudi performing on Saturday Night Live in a dress.
Yeah.
And it's just
I'm not gonna lie, man. Even coming up in a lot of hip hop, maybe it was my maturity, but I didn't listen to the words as much. I mean, I listened, but I wasn't really taking stock of what they were actually saying. I mean, I really wasn't I'm gonna do the same thing.
You didn't take it technically.
You didn't take it technically. You just heard them kind of. It was almost like when I got older, you kind of analyze a little more. When you're younger, listen to this stuff, you don't sit there and analyze every single thing they're saying. You really don't. Yeah. But who knows how it affects you subconsciously? But I'm just saying, when I was younger, I wasn't breaking it down to that, that scientific level of what he's saying about everything.
Shit, it was the energy. I feel like a Rough Rider, honestly. I feel like jumping on a damn 4-wheeler and just riding out.
But I'm telling you one thing. I remember this. I don't know if y'all. I was a big gamer. I can still game a little bit now too. There was a game called Def Jam Vendetta.
Of course,
bro. The best character on there was DMX.
With the super baggy pant jeans and the big Timberlands.
Man, I used him in Ghostface. Boy, nobody could touch me on there.
Yeah, man. Classic game.
Yeah, man.
Definitely icon, especially get you ready for them high school football games.
Yeah.
Get ready for a high school football game, man.
Man, when I was back when I used to fight, man, I was going through walkout music and I was going through a bunch of hits. One reason I didn't because it was too vulgar. I didn't want to offend anybody, like a family coming to see me. So I was like, well, I can't play some of that stuff, man. But I remember going through, it gets you hyped. It gets you pumped up. You
Yeah.
know?
Still does.
Yep.
So everyone knows DMX's history. Part of being authentic. There's not too many people as authentic as and vulnerable and transparent. That's what I'm looking for as DMX. I would say maybe Mike Tyson. But you ask him a question, he'll answer it. Like, hey, I heard you was on drugs. Yeah, my drug of choice was A, B, and C. You're like, whoa, okay, I wasn't expecting that, you know. And we all know that it was widely reported that he was addicted to drugs, you know what I mean, his whole life. And when he first came out, it wasn't really broadcast like that. And to be honest, I don't even think there was any room for that, because in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, everybody was rapping about selling drugs, you know. And later on, you know, when his ex-wife was speaking on some of the issues and why they got divorced, and you know, he had bouts with, you know, cocaine and crack use, which I think a large of our community knows people, or you know, close family members. And it's unfortunate he dealt with it, but he was still DMX. He was still world renowned and super influential. Like, what do you think? How does that affect his legacy?
I don't think it does. Let me tell you why I say that. Everybody deals with their personal demons. You know, his just more publicly because of who he was. You know, he's an icon in the hip hop community. He bought his albums. He was in movies. Matter of fact, my wife and I's first date was Exit Wounds. I just thought about that. It was our first date, man.
Was that with Steven Seagal? Which one was that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That movie, boy. I ain't gonna talk about the movie, but when you're out there, man, your troubles are public. They get magnified because you're in the limelight. You know what I mean? You have no privacy with that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking, we know people that have been in the same kind of struggle, but you don't hear about it. It doesn't get glorified in that kind of way because they're not in the public eye. And with them, that humanizes them, that we have the same problems that we have. Like he was a man of faith. You think about it. Every album, every other song, he's praying. And people say, well, one time he's praying, the other time he's cussing and talking about this.
Yeah.
But you can't judge anybody's personal journey with that, man. You know
that's
that
called being a human being.
Human being. Yep.
Yeah.
And a lot of people want to attack on that. Say, what's legacy? He was doing drugs, so everything else is negated. No, we do that all the time with people. We take their negative things and highlight those as the biggest thing that can overshadow any good that they've done or any kind of person they are, you know, outside of what they did that may have been perceived as negative. And we got to stop doing that. Yes, everybody has those blemishes, but take us as an example. I'm sure if you look at the book of our life, everything's not going to be roses. Everything's not going to be great. Right now, we got this podcast. We present ourselves the best way we can, right? They're not seeing our dirt. You know what I mean? They're not seeing every little thing we do that's not quite right. You know what I mean? And for them, people that are in limelight, they don't have that choice almost. When they're famous and they're getting interviewed and people are in their lives, they're going to see every little negative thing. And you know how the society is. We love negativity, man. That's what sells. Yeah. And that's what people push about this man's life. And
we love to judge. And
we love to judge, man.
Yeah, we love to judge.
Yep. And my biggest thing with him is we shouldn't even talk about this. So we know what happened. Okay, cool. It's in the past. What can we learn from it? Yeah. But he did some positive things. You know what I mean? He influenced people to do some things.
Also, it's a gift and a curse being famous, right? Because you don't think about the ramifications that come with it. Everybody wants to be famous for the most part, right? I don't say everybody, but a lot of people like to be famous. They don't understand the ramifications that come with that. Like you said, how you can't escape the limelight. You can't escape the camera, especially now. It was different when DMX first came out, right? We didn't have social media. It didn't exist. We didn't have that. The internet was a new thing when DMX started really popping. So unfortunately, he transitioned from, you know, the non-social media age to the social media age, still carrying all those demons. And then obviously it's, it makes it to the limelight, it gets out. But I remember when I first heard the news of him being an addict, I wasn't surprised. I think that's what kind of messed me up, was like, it wasn't expected, but I wasn't surprised that he was an addict. I don't know if you guys felt that way. I mean, how did y'all feel about the first?
I was kind of surprised just for
You were
the fact
surprised?
that yeah, just for the fact that he's famous. And I think again our the hip hop culture at that point. Because right now, if you under 25, everyone's an addict, like in
Yeah.
hip hop. But in the 90s, early 2000s, everybody was drug dealers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the lines was don't get high on your own supply and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think doing drugs was it was unless you was smoking weed, it was looked down upon.
Mhm.
But selling drugs was, you know what I'm saying, was very much glorified. And DMX wasn't just a everyday rapper. He was a super mega star. He was,
Transcended. He
the
transcended.
top dog. So
Yeah.
it was kind of like, damn. And I was younger too, so someone I kind of looked up to. Versus now, understanding, everyone's a human being. Everyone has demons. Everyone has vices. I have demons. I have vices. And also, being older and understanding, like, my dad is the same way. He's an addict. You know what I'm saying? He's just not, you know, super popular or icon, and he is known very well in my small family. But it just puts a certain, I don't know, just nuance of, all right, cool, you can be a father, you can be a husband, you can have a career, you can be all these things. You could be God-fearing and still have this addiction that you can't shake for whatever reason. And I think a lot of people in society has them. So some people may be addicted to video games or food, or the opposite sex, or sex in general. And I think a lot of people are addicted to, like, workaholic, or money. And I think in this society it's more acceptable. So people can be addicted to things that are acceptable in this society, which means they may not be treated. You know what I mean? So, for instance, if someone works 100 hours a week, and especially if they're a male, we may say, man, look at that. That dude's a beast. He's driven. There may be something actually wrong, right? But on the flip end, if someone's addicted to food, it's more visual, where, like, you shouldn't be 600 pounds. You're kind of shamed. If you're addicted to drugs, you're shamed because society doesn't agree with it. It's not acceptable in society. I think we're all addicted to some. I think you can be addicted to your kids. I think you could be addicted to your spouse, where you have that dependent, like an unhealthy dependence on anything makes you addicted.
You made a good point, man, because you think about it, everybody has their vice, you know what I mean? But that vice is so socially unacceptable that we talk about it, in a negative light. Like, oh, I can't believe he's on this, or on this drug, or on this drug, because the social acceptance of it is a little bit different. You know what I mean? You can be addicted to something that's very perceived as positive, but it still take away from something that could be glorifying something else. A good example is, let's say that I'm real big on just buying, trading stocks, and I love stocks so much that stock market opens till it closes, I focus on nothing else but that. And then when it closes, I focus on nothing else but getting ready for that next day, to the point where I'm ignoring my friendships, I'm ignoring my family, I'm ignoring my relationship with God, ignoring all the other things. Then you would think that that's a positive thing, because you're trying to build a legacy for your family. But if it takes away from those people you're trying to build for, what are you really doing? You know what I mean? But if I was to say I was addicted to stock market, people would say, what? That's strange. They won't say, like, oh, I can't believe this guy's doing this. I can't believe he's this kind of an addict. But you take drugs, because it's so socially unacceptable, they can see it clearly and be like, oh, that's horrible. I can't believe he's doing this. I can't believe he's in that situation.
Yeah, and I think also, depending on the addiction, there are certain layers that have to be peeled back, right? So that, like Reese, you brought up food, Jason, y'all both brought up drugs. So when you're addicted to food, obviously you gain weight. It's right there in your face, right? It's easily identifiable. But if you're addicted to, let's say, work, you're just working a lot, right? Initially you may be praised, but the root cause won't be initially identified until layers are peeled back. Like, I think it's going to be second, third order effects that come with certain addictions before you're like, yo, I got a problem or there's something wrong. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things that, you know, if you're talking about drugs or alcohol, it's just easier to identify and say, hey, something's off because it works faster, right? Like if you're on drugs, if you're addicted to meth, that's just gonna catch up to you pretty quickly. You know
Not
what I mean?
necessarily. I mean, there's tons of functioning addicts,
Oh yeah.
drug addicts, alcoholics in every sector of the world.
Yeah, but how, come on, that's kind of like to be a functioning alcoholic, a functioning drug addict. I just don't think that comes around. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand there are a lot of people, but I think more times often than not, you're going to identify someone as an alcoholic or a drug addict versus not.
Maybe it for one, it depends on what you define as an addiction, and for two, I really think you'll be surprised on how many people can hide it. Right, where they come to work, you know, they get in a routine, they show up for work, they're bright-eyed, and 5 o'clock they clock out, they rush home, and then they may have something waiting for them in the car. They may, as soon as they before they take off their coat, you know, they're indulging in whatever, and they just again, they may not see it as an addiction, but you know, hey, I drink, you know, my 6-pack every night just to level off, and then, you know, so it just, I mean, it just depends.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, I see what you're saying. Like food, especially, is just so easy. Just looking at people's outer appearance, you clearly have a problem because you clearly shouldn't be that way. Or you know, certain drugs like meth, like your teeth are clearly missing. Like you should have teeth in your mouth. You know what I'm saying? So I see those flags, but I think you could be working with someone next to you, could be working for someone could be working for you that has an addiction, and you know, just never know.
Yeah, just certain addictions I think are just more easily identifiable. You know, if you're talking about someone that's on crack cocaine, like that, it's a matter of time before you're like, yo, this something's not right. Like you are physically changing. You know what I mean? Versus someone that's drinking, that may take a little bit longer, depending on what you're drinking. Because I know people that drink beer all the time that you would never know. You know what I mean? Or smoke weed a lot, you would probably never know. You know what I mean? Especially if they're able to do their everyday tasks. So yeah, I get what you're saying.
I think it's just unfortunate. I think you can hear it in his music. He was just in a lot of pain. I don't know if you heard his story. They recently did like the Rough Riders documentary on BET, I think over the summer. And man, just hearing his story, just, you know, obviously his dad wasn't around, but his mom just refused to keep him. Like anytime his grandma gave him back to the mom would just either neglect him or just give it back to the grandma and decide I just can't deal with it, which led him to the streets, which led him to the, you know, wrong crew, which led him to robbing and stealing people, which led him to drugs. And is obviously he just had that talent for poetry, that which I wouldn't even say saved him, because sometimes with addiction, and I just saw another interview with Lamar Odom, you get fame and you get more money and resources, that just fuels your addiction. Like that just makes it a bigger monster. Versus if you were, you know, just a regular person in society making, you know, $40, $50, $60,000 a year. Now you're worth 50, 60 million. Everyone knows you. Now when you want to get drugs, you don't got to pay. You know what I'm saying? So that may just fuel you. So they say like money and fame doesn't change people. It just accentuates what they already are, you know? So if you already headed down the path, it'll just get you there faster, no matter which path it's on. And I think that's just unfortunate, because I also, he was one of the rappers that was a mega superstar. He only had that one like chain, almost like that thick ass
like a little dog chain.
Like, but he was never iced out. He never like pulled up in a Ferrari. You know what I'm saying? He was never flashy. You never seen him in designer.
He barely owned shirts. I mean,
the dude wore jeans, the super baggy jeans
and Tim's,
you know,
for years.
Wife beater.
That's how you looked in the dang game, Def Jam. That's how it's
bro. Like,
but that was him though. Like you could tell the money wasn't, you know, the money wasn't a big deal. He didn't. At least he didn't show it. You know what I'm saying? Which was just nuts. Like I can't really think of too many other rappers in that era that didn't rap about money, didn't floss it, and you know.
Yeah, that's a good point. He was never a flashy dude. Like
Ever.
what
it was a lot of guys in that era wasn't like that. I don't think Wu-Tang was like that. You know,
no,
guys they weren't flexing like that. Red
but
Band
Wu-Tang,
wasn't.
But Wu-Tang was a group, and they never reached a mega.
Yeah, not his level.
You know, DMX was all in movies. So once he started getting that movie money, that's next level. Just forget stardom. That's just next level wealth. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, you all right. The Wu-Tang wasn't,
flashy. Yeah.
Like I don't know.
A lot of rappers, man, back then weren't like that. Think about, I can name a bunch of them that weren't like that.
Huh?
Like think about Tribe Called Quest. I mean,
but they weren't on DMX level.
Yeah, they're like,
but you're saying that superstar level.
Underground backpackers. I would say one would be maybe Eminem. You know what I'm saying? Because Eminem is stupid rich, but yeah.
But M talks about his money now, though.
Mm-hmm.
Talks about his money now.
Who?
Him.
He has nothing else to rap. What else he gonna rap?
Oh, yeah.
What else he gonna rap?
He's like 57 years old, something like that.
Use every word, every rhyme.
It's all over for him. What else? What is it that rap about?
I mean, there's only a couple of them, man. M, DMX, but X for sure never really talked about his money. Never a flashy guy. I mean, he always kept it very aggressive, very street, like point blank period. It was like, hey, look, it's what you see is what you get.
And the way he came in, is the way he left, like his image, the way he dressed, almost like our boy CJ. Like he went, you know what I'm saying? He dressed the same.
CJ got to be worth at least $1 million, man.
We need to call CJ CMX. He dressed like him. He got the same chains. He got the shaved head. Sometimes he shave it. Sometimes
for real, man. CMX. But going back to what you were
shout out to CJ.
Shout out to CJ. What you were saying about fame, one thing that the first thing that I thought about was like his network. Like all the people that he knew, had around him, his team. It was like, man, like that supporting cast, you got to have a positive supporting cast. And it didn't seem like he ever had that to me.
He might, we don't know. He might have, but then
we don't know. Yeah, we don't know.
They could have been telling him every day, man, stop doing what so-and-so, try this. But he seems like a headstrong person, man. He's like a confident, independent person.
Headstrong. Yeah.
So I highly doubt that anybody can influence him to a point where they're going to change what he wants to do. You know what I mean? Probably give him a little, information, but he's an alpha. You know what I mean? He's an alpha type dude.
Oh,
or what's that new one we learned about? Sigma.
Oh,
yeah.
What was it?
Oh,
Sigma male?
Sigma. Yes.
Yeah, I think it was a Sigma male.
Sigma man.
Yeah, it was a Sigma male.
He seems more like that type. You know what I mean?
Like he literally moved at the beat of his own drum.
Man.
Yeah, not even a leader, just like the super aggressive.
Yeah, not even
on his own.
And
I think that's why he said he loved dogs. Just remember some interviews. That's why he loved dogs. He said he had a personal connection with dogs and the way they move more than people. So
that started as a kid too. Like, he was young when he got like attached to dogs.
No boomer.
Like outlet.
Yeah. So either way, he legend, icon. His music will live on. His influence will live on. His impact will live on. And we just wanted to pay this quick tribute to the X, and definitely appreciate his contributions to hip hop in our lives.
Yeah, most definitely.
So wrap it up.
What we got?
Yeah. So let's go around. This is kind of like what we can learn from. I don't know this. And I'll start. I just think when people, you never know what people are going through, so just be wary on how you judge them, and kind of look into yourself too, potentially what you're indulging in that could be detrimental to your life or people around you, and just know that, man, that we're all human. We all dealing with things. We're all going through things. We all have traumas, and we all just trying to figure out life one day at a time.
Yeah. And what I got, looking at how young he was, being 50 years old, is that nobody knows their time. Nobody knows what time they're going to be going. So make things count. Live your life towards some purpose. Don't just live for. I'm not saying he did that. I'm saying live for something that when you're gone, people can say things about you that you were impactful. You left a mark on the world that was positive. You did something that was forward looking. Just kind of take evaluation of your life. And how it looks. Someone read a book of your life. What was it going to say? What's it going to talk about? So just think about that.
And I'll say it in the sentiment of time and just how young DMX passed away. I mean, he was in his 50s, really young. If you feel like you're going through things, you have demons, man, get help. You know what I mean? Get help and reach out, because this dude had a lot more living to do, man. He was in his 50s. Like that's really young, and he left 17 kids. Crazy. If you have things that you're going through, please seek help and try to make that positive change in your life, man, because we gotta, God forbid something tragic, we got a lot of living to do. So that's all I got.
RPX, thank you for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment. We appreciate y'all. Y'all take care of each other. Thanks for coming through. Make sure you like and subscribe for more content. Also, ensure that you like us on IG. And also, you can listen to the audio version on all streaming formats like Apple and Spotify.